All right, 3 minutes past 8 this morning here on OTB AM, and we're talking football with Mark Lawrenson. Mark, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm all good, thanks, chaps.
I have a slight concern, if I'm a Liverpool fan, that perhaps tonight is a bit of a trap game for us, where we've already hammered Man United this year. We're coming off the back of a massive win against our main rivals. Everybody's talking about 4 trophies, and it's still Man United, and it's still one of those games where it's like, do we just... I'm not saying they're going to get complacent, but this happens. Strange things happen in football where Man United dig a performance out on muscle memory, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm absolutely, totally with you. I'm going to match as well. So I'm a bit that way, which is, you know, they really won't need a team talk, Man United, will they? Getting done 5 at home by Liverpool, and the way Liverpool are at the moment as well, and the way Manchester United are in a mess, basically. So you would think within the starting 11 squad, whatever you want to call it, there will be a lot of resilience and resistance, and there'll be a little bit like, let's get stuck into this lot and let's see if they can deal with a little bit of tackling, shall we say, for want of a better description. I mean, they can't come to Anfield and be passive, surely, because if they are, they'll get rolled over again.
And the physicality that Ralph Rangnick has bemoaned the lack of from Manchester United's perspective isn't really there in the team. So, like, I can see you try and pick a fight with somebody who's bigger than you, and you hope that they overreact somehow. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I understand the Liverpool fans out there and the Man United fans are going to be like, this is nonsense. Like, you know, this could easily be... We've already had somebody text us this morning saying Liverpool should be looking for 7 or 8 tonight. And
no, well, I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? And I mean, look, if you ask Jurgen Klopp now, he'd take 1-0. 1-0, no injuries, move on. And that's the way to approach it. The other thing as well is you know, obviously a good result at the weekend, although I thought City really played into Liverpool's hands. So he will change the team around again tonight, I would have thought, make 2 or 3 changes. And just, you know, business as usual, basically. I think that's... I can't believe he's giving them long team talks anymore, because they know exactly what they need to do.
What changes would you make to the team tonight?
I don't think he'll start Keita. I think Henderson comes back in. Legs, basically, energy, driving from midfield, all those kind of things. Keita had a really good game at the weekend. He's you know, he can't kind of string 4 or 5 really good games together. That's been his problem. And then, of course, he gets injuries and stuff, and he seems to be out for quite a long time. So, which is unfortunate for him. But as I say, he was really good on Saturday. But I think Henderson comes back in, and he might change one of the front players, possibly.
What does Keita need to do then to get ahead of Jordan Henderson? Is it just that to prove to people that he can go 10, 15 games in the bounce?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, there's a player in there. I think Klopp's always said that there's a player in there, and he keeps playing him, thinking that, you know, he's just going to have this run where suddenly Liverpool realised, you know, the ability of the player that they signed up all those years ago. But he's just one of those who's just been really, really unfortunate. He's never really had a consistent run in the team, and you know, he's got in and then maybe not played particularly well, or then he's got injured. He's actually been really, really unlucky. But obviously, you know, he gets bypassed probably at the moment, because Klopp thinks that he's got other players who are 8, 9 out of 10, where, you know, Keita might be 6 one game and 8 the next week, which at that level you can't have.
Well, and what about the stylistically then between Keita and Henderson? Is there a different sort of game, even if you could trust them both the same? Like, you know, you've got Everton, for example, again, to be expected to win at the weekend, and then Champions League then the following midweek. So is there a consistency there to the selection in your view, or is it a little bit of a horses for courses situation?
I think Klopp's preferred 3 is Henderson, Fabinho, obviously, and Thiago. I mean, you know, I worship at the feet of Thiago. I just think he's brilliant. It's just, as I keep going on to you every time I come on the programme, and he's going through a run where obviously he's getting even fitter. He just sees stuff all the time, and that's why I don't think Keita will get in. To be honest with you, it's probably, I think the best midfield is the 3 that would start tonight, I think. But you never know with Klopp. He might suddenly decide, no, Keita played well at the weekend, I'll chuck him in again. But I doubt it somehow.
The Thiago performance seemed to be better this time against City than the first time, which is actually a really good sign. I don't know if you agree, first off, that he was better at the weekend than he was when in the 2-2 draw, but it's the sign of a player who's actually assessing the scenario, learning as the season goes on, and understanding what you have to do to impose your game.
Yeah, I mean, he's just like a fabulous talent, and occasionally he has an off game, which doesn't everybody. But he sees stuff that none of the other midfield players see at all. And, you know, he's got radar. He's like, even in the game at the Etihad, I mean, was it his diagonal pass that started off the move that was the first equaliser, I think? You know, hell of a pass and stuff. But what he will do, he's not worried about giving the ball away, which sounds daft, but he isn't, because you know, he'll try basically. If you watch a lot of Premier League football at the moment, midfield players, second touch is backwards or sideways. Really seriously, as if you watch it, it's not with him. It's just everything's forward, and that's, you know, he makes them really, really more progressive as a team with his ability. Just some of the balls he plays in as well. I'm sure if you get a straw poll with the forward players about him passing them into feet, they'll all like, wow. He really drills the ball into them, and it's easier for top players to control them with their touch, etc. And I just rave about him, as you know, but he's made such a difference, because he just sees things. He just sees opportunities and passes that mere mortals don't see at all.
Is there any possibility they take him out of the starting lineup tonight to rest him for the other big games coming, that he's the one?
I would rather play him tonight than then, if that was the case, than play him against Everton, because Everton's just going to be a dogfight. And unless Liverpool, you know, get up early and get a couple of goals lead, it's going to be an absolute dogfight. And they're horrible games to play in, as everybody knows. And I think tonight will be less of a dogfight, to be honest with you. And that's why I think he would play him, but maybe leave him out against Everton.
I guess that makes sense from a physical perspective as well.
Yeah.
And then just the last one on the defence, right? So Konate comes into the team and scores every game he plays at the moment, which is pretty good. It's a real sign again that they're managing the introduction of a new player into the team where there's no pressure and there's no stress, and it's like the complete opposite of last season when all the centre backs seem to be fit all the time, which is a bit of a miracle. But is he getting to the point where you have to pick him, or
not yet? No, not yet. Because you only had to see against Benfica the other night where he doesn't quite get at the moment the high line. You know, you can only really, I mean, that's how Liverpool play, but you can only really play with the high line if there's no pressure on if there's pressure on the passer from midfield. If there isn't, you've got to drop off a little bit. I don't think he's quite got that yet. Look, he's almost there, but does he get in before Matip? No. Matip's been excellent again all season, and the other thing that Matip has been giving Liverpool as well is coming out from the back and committing the opposition midfield players, and he's made such a difference. And him and Van Dijk obviously are the best partnership at the club. So Konate's getting closer, shall we say, which is fab, isn't it? And he looks like he's learning. And I mean, what is he, 22, 23? He's a beast as well, isn't he, in terms of size?
One last thing then, Salah, he's playing really well. The ball just won't go in off his ass. It's whatever is going on. It's just bad luck at the moment, it seems. Or is he playing a little bit off? I don't know. What's your assessment?
There's nothing wrong with his performances. He's just not scoring, but they're winning, and it really doesn't matter. And it will change. It always will. It always has done. I mean, Mane had a little bit of a spell as well, but you know, the fact they've got 5 players in there for the 3 positions is not an issue. And as I said, they're winning all the games, and generally they're winning quite comfortably. And I know Klopp said on Saturday that the first half was the best performance, but in all honesty, I thought they were aided and abetted by Manchester City, because why you wouldn't play your best goalkeeper, and arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world, in a team that was weakened because of injuries elsewhere, just remains to be seen. I just think, you know, I said to you before about Guardiola, I think sometimes he overthinks everything and thinks he's the cleverest person in the room. But what a strange decision that was, playing the American boy.
Yeah, and look, the goal that Zach Steffen concedes by his touch, when you compare and contrast with what Ederson was able to do in a similar scenario, like, you can see that the difference between at least getting into extra time in the game is that one goal. And
Well,
we reduce football sometimes too easily to these tiny incidents, but like it's clear that in a similar scenario, one of the best goalkeepers in the world has actually shown us in the previous game that he can get out of that scenario. And this guy, he's just young and learning his way and getting to the inexperienced maybe rather than young, can't do it.
No, well, like, I thought he should have saved the third goal. I thought his positioning was wrong. I mean, it was shot away. It was shot away by them, poor lad. I mean, be interesting to see whether we ever see him again playing for City in a meaningful game. And it's unfortunate, obviously. But what a game to throw him in on! It just did not make any sense. And I know after the game in Atletico Madrid, when I think, what did Guardiola say? We're in trouble. Well, no wonder he's in trouble when he chucked the kid in. I mean, what's the point? I don't get it. I really seriously do not get it. He could have actually completely done his career in.
The Daily Mail this morning are reporting that Manchester City have agreed terms with Haaland's people. $500,000 a week is going to be the salary, and that will result in them triggering the release clause for 60 million or whatever the fee ends up being.
Yeah.
So is it a coincidence that this comes in the immediate aftermath of defeat to their main rivals in the Cup? Is it a bone that they're throwing to the City fans going, don't worry?
No, I think it was always going to happen, wasn't it? I don't think it was that. It's just he's only just come back from injury, but he had a spell of not scoring for a while as well, didn't he? I think everyone was looking at him thinking, wow, has his magic gone? But no, I mean, it'd be an outstanding signing. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And it won't really matter if he's not, because they're still an absolute top team. Well, these two, Liverpool and Man City, the two top teams in the world, as everybody knows now. So I think it'd be a good signing. And gives them, again, a different way of playing. But if you look at, he's going to have to get used to the fact that sometimes he might not see the ball for a while because they do love keeping it. And it might suit him. It might suit him to have a little bit of a rest, up front. And then when it gets into his areas, possibly that all of a sudden he's raring to go. But I think it's a really good signing. And they're always going to make a statement with the signings anyway. Look at Grealish for 100 million quid last year.
Do you make City still the favourites to win the league?
Yeah, I'd rather be in their position than Liverpool. Although, as I said to you before, it's easier chasing and it's more difficult being chased. But you just the only thing is I just look at Guardiola and looking at he's a top coach, manager, call him whatever you will, but he does sometimes make strange decisions. I'll throw you another one in, which wasn't long ago. Crystal Palace away. When they were drawing, needed to change the game. No substitutions. What's that all about? I just that's, I think, is kind of Achilles' heel, for want of a better description. And I'm just wondering whether in this running he has another one.
That's the hope from a Liverpool perspective, Kieran.
Yeah.
If they were to pull this off, right, the quadruple. I do wonder, first off, what's your instinct about the fact that that's what they keep getting asked about, and it keeps being, every paper every day has had talk of the quadruple since the League Cup final. Does that add pressure? Does it have any impact, do you think, on the possibility of this happening?
Nah, they're in a bubble. They're in a bubble, and they know. I mean, Klopp keeps saying as well, the number of games they've got to play. And obviously still in 2 cup competitions because, you just need one poor performance in a cup match and you're out. No, they won't. Listen, they won't be talking about that in the dressing room. They'll actually be taking the mickey out of each other and stuff with different things. That won't be, come on, boys, let's, go on and win the quadruple. It will not be mentioned. We were lucky, fortunate to win 3, I think, one year, 3 out of the 4 and stuff. And he didn't actually, until the very last competition, like the European Cup, you didn't think, we can win a treble. It was, you're more worried about the fact who were you playing next? Would you still be in the team? If you had a bit of a stoomer and stuff. So, No, it's and the other thing, I think these guys don't read papers anymore, do they? They obviously watch telly and listen to the radio, but well, maybe not even listen to the radio, unfortunately, but that's their own fault. But they probably watch Sky and realise how great they are. Not, but now it's in the dressing room. It will be the last thing that anybody ever mentions, because by the way, if Klopp heard it, Klopp would go nuts.
It is like an unquestionable massive achievement if you manage to win multiple trophies, whether it's a quadruple or a treble. And not to bring it back to Pep again, but it does, like, that was what was on the line for Manchester City on Saturday. Like, with his team selection, it was the ability to go and I guess match Manchester United's treble, the exact treble that they had notched up, and they're in prime position to win the Premier League. They would obviously be in prime position had they won on Saturday, and they would feel that they could definitely do a job in the Champions League. So that just makes the team selection a little bit more mysterious.
Yeah, well, it does. But then we don't know what he's thinking, between his ears. So as I say, he's an outstanding coach, but I don't think he would have been. I don't think the treble particularly worries him. I think he said, didn't he, about a month or 6 weeks ago, that the Champions League is a trophy that they really want to win. And I think if you said to Liverpool, what would you like to win? They'd probably say the league, between the two of them. But you cannot pick what you want to win, can you? Because obviously you've got to beat outstanding teams along the way, and you can lose games and stuff like that. So, no, I think all the noise outside about trebles and quadruples and all those kind of things, I don't. Inside that dressing room, I wouldn't say it's banned, because then you're drawing attention to the fact that you're banning talk about it. But as I said, Klopp will be having absolutely none of that whatsoever.
All right, Mark, we've got to let you go. Thanks a million. You've been great with your time this morning.
Pleasure.
Cheers. Enjoy the game tonight. That's Mark Lawrenson helping us to preview Liverpool against Manchester United tonight. What do you think is going to happen, Eoin? I
think Liverpool will win 2-0. And I think that they're substantially ahead of Manchester United.
Well, they are.
Strange things have happened.
Yeah, and There's no weird, like Southampton beat Arsenal at the weekend. Brighton beat Spurs. You're saying none of that crap can happen. Norwich were 2-0 down, came back to 2-2. Could have easily done something against Man United at the weekend. You're saying no? I think, no.
I think that the way Jurgen Klopp has been speaking in the last couple of days, I think that there's limited chance of that happening. Like, he's really gone to 10 with his talking up of Manchester United and how big a game it is. He says that we have to be angry, we have to be greedy, you have to approach this game like you won nothing. I think that probably illustrates the attitude of a team that challenges for a title anyway, and Manchester United don't have that. This is obviously the night where Manchester United get angry and get greedy. They don't do it on a week-to-week basis. So that's why you'd be a little bit concerned of a shock to Liverpool, is because of what Manchester United can bring. But Liverpool letting down their end of the bargain, that's not going to happen, because that would be completely out of character with what we've seen from them this season and over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it just for them to be perfect all the way through to the end of the season would be remarkable. Would be we appreciate the fact that we are talking about one of the all-time great teams if they manage to pull that off, and that is right there for them, and they're trending towards being one of the all-time great teams, but they haven't actually delivered enough silverware just yet. They've won a Champions League and they've won a league and a League Cup, which we count for the purposes of a quadruple, but when you're tallying it up at the moment, they're as good as any of the Premier League era teams, except the treble winning team, except maybe the Invincibles, except maybe the Chelsea team who won 2 leagues in Mourinho's first period. At the moment, they've won. They need to win more, I would say, to deliver on the promise that they show at the moment. Have I been ambivalent enough about that and given everybody enough to agree with that?
I think that this team and its quality deserves more trophies, but got nothing to do with it when it comes to to deliver that punchline of it, which I created for myself and knocked it out of the park myself. Yes, they're too talented to have just walked away from this era with just those 3 trophies for sure. The problem is they're up against a team that is better than a team that the treble Manchester United teams were up against domestically, and I would say the same goes for the Invincibles team.
That's from a movie that was out before you were born.
I know. I know. You know what? I realize, and I've come to the realization that life does exist before 1994. But I'm not entirely, I don't like, I kind of like stick my finger in the air and kind of realize that there is kind of life and there was culture, and you're a man of culture when it comes to like 1980s and 1970s.
1990, 1992. Unforgiven. That's the movie.
Yeah.
You knew that though, right?
Well, of course. I mean, like it's Gene Hackman, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Gene Hackman is literally getting his head blown off. The next thing that happens after Desert's got nothing to do with it. William
There
Money
you go.
blows the head off Gene Hackman's character, whose name I'd say now if we were to sit here for 20 minutes I'd be able to work it out, but I can't. But yeah, that's
okay.
the point.
We can just sit here in silence and just wait for it to come to you.
Desert's got nothing to do with it, and you get your head blown off sometimes by Man United. Like, if Ralph Rangnick was to win tonight and secure fourth place and stop Liverpool from winning the league, he will go down as he will become a cult hero immediately. So there's a lot on the line from a Manchester United's perspective, which we haven't spoken about. It's all been Liverpool. Liverpool won at the weekend. It's the quadruple. If Manchester United were to be able to somehow derail the unstoppable juggernaut of Liverpool from winning the league, and you listen to Lawro, the Champions League would be great, but like we've just won that. Whereas actually winning the league in front of our own fans is the thing that the city of Liverpool, apart from the Everton half of it, wants more than anything. If they could stop that, Manchester United could be the ones to stop that. If Ralph Rangnick could achieve that, that would be that's a legacy, right? That's something.
Like, he's definitely fighting for his own credibility as much as anything else. I would say I think that's taken a massive battering over the last few months. And we've had this conversation around Ten Hag over the last little while as well, that there is a risk that you just get on this water slide, which is your reputation, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're just constantly slipping away. And that's what's happened to Rangnick here a little bit this season. But there is time, as we said at the top of the show. They can get top four here. They're absolutely in the conversation for it. If he manages to pull that off, it would be a saving. He would have climbed back up that water slide, which nobody's ever done before, and he would have saved his reputation and maybe even enhanced it.
Yeah, I think there'd be a bit of enhancing going on at the end, where everybody revises look at the shit show he inherited. That team should have finished ninth, and then he finishes fourth. Now, obviously, they would have to do something remarkable tonight for that to happen. So the other alternative that they finish out of the Champions League places and out of European places is still on the table for them. Lil Bill, that was his name. Lil Bill Daggett was the Gene Hackman character, who you should think of tonight if Bruno Fernandes manages to ping one in from 45 yards. Bruno's in all the papers today for having crashed his Porsche and having had to get Juan Mata to come and pick him up. Juan Mata being in the role of the person that you ring when you crash your car on the way to training is not that surprising, really. It's like, listen, owner, it's been a bit of an issue here. I'll tell you about it when you get here. Could you come and just pick me? I'm gonna drop a pin on WhatsApp. Could you just drive here and don't tell anybody about it? Certainly don't tell any photographers who also happen to be on the scene capturing my very expensive car and the damage to the front right fender.
Yeah, like a very, very on brand for Juan Mata. You know that you could also like crack a joke after about 10 minutes in the car as well with Juan Mata, or he would do that thing as well. He would kind of soften the blow a little bit for that. There isn't even anybody that comes close to that in that dressing room.
What was the line that Darragh O'Shea had about Eamon Fitzmaurice? If I murdered somebody, he'd be the first person I call. Was that it? Juan Mata is in the Eamon Fitzmaurice role for everybody in that Manchester United dressing room.